There we go, not too bad. Let's see, I'm going to just move over there. Okay, so here is the shopping link if you're interested in getting the full class kit and the tutorials. Remember, you're going to get 2 tutorials this month. With the $35 order, you'll get the tutorials and the kit. Level up to $50 order, and you're going to get the Thanks a Bunch stamp set as well. So when shopping, you can go directly via this link, and it's going to land on the shopping site, and it's already going to have the host code embedded. If you just click on stampinup.com, you can always enter this host code to get the credit to get your free class kit. Now, the Thanks a Bunch stamp set is only good through Monday night, which is the 13th. So there you go. That's how you get your kit for free, and the tutorials and the gifts. All right. Any questions? Does that sound easy? I don't know if I explain it well. Hello, Carolyn from Florida. Thank you for joining. All right, so there is how we can get the kit and the tutorials and the gifts. Let me shift that over. Hopefully everything's working right, and let's get started with today's It Looks Like Spring class. I am going to be starting off with the simple specialty card. And first of all, I'm going to show you the cute card. This is an Easter card, and it features the Easter Bunny stamp set. So there and there. This little stamp set is a gem, even without the punch. And today I'm going to be sharing with you projects that do not even need the punch. When it comes in May, you may want to get it because you can punch out this cute little bunny, and it makes really easy cards. Remember, this was my simple specialty card, just punched. So you don't need that punch. You can hand snip. If you have the opportunity to get it in May, go for it. But this little Easter Bunny stamp set on its own is a gem. Look at the cute little bunnies in the 3 different stances. We've got Happy Easter, It's a New Day, An Easter Treat for You, Enjoy All the Little Moments, You're a Friend Like No Other, Hi, and then we have all the little extra elements, the little butterfly, the eggs, that little spray of flowers, cute little friend, a carrot, and the grass. Thank you, Marcia. This little stamp set goes beyond Easter. So it's a springtime set. It can be a baby card. It can be a thank you card. I'm going to be sharing with you some of those types of cards. So that's what I'm using here. And this is that simple card. So there's no die cutting, and it's all easy peasy. Let me share with you how I make it. It looks a little bit complicated, but it's not. I'm going to share with you. All right, so here's what we need to create this card. So our card base is petal pink, and it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, right? That's the finished card size of most of the cards that we handcraft. Now, what I did in advance, I took that piece of cardstock that I would normally have to create one card, and I cut it right in half. So I have a second piece of cardstock, same color, that's the same measurement, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This one, however, I am going to score. So with my paper trimmer and the scoring blade, I'm going to put it on the long side and score at halfway point, which is 275 or 2 3/4. So that's going to create that one fold. So there is my card base in my first fold. This is an overlapping fold. So I'm taking a piece of a piece of DSP. This is DSP from the Regency Park 6x6 Designer Series paper. If you haven't looked at this paper, you will want to grab a stack. Mine's going quickly. I have all kinds of little snippets. These are the pieces I'm using today soft, pretty flowers, dramatic flowers, a soft, balmy blue, dotty background. And then there's a vibrant flowers. Flip it over, and we are using two sides of that cards or DSP and the second side of the other paper. So that's the DSP I'm working with on all the cards. Now for this card, I chose the little pattern. We've got those flowers that are in petal pink, looks like mango melody, balmy blue, shaded spruce. On the flip side, it's a nice subtle petal pink, pretty little posies. This piece measures 5.5 tall, 5.25 wide. So I just cut off a little bit on both sides. Then I'm going to score it at 1.5. So place it down on your trimmer, go ahead and score it 1.5. And we're going to fold that over. And I've got the gist of my card here. Now I also am going to use a scrap of the piece that I cut off here. I need 2 pieces of basic white that measure 2.5. I'm going to confirm 2.5 by 4 inches. One's going to go on the outside of the card. The other one's going to go on the inside of the card. Look how simple this is coming together. So that little snippet of DSP that I trimmed off from the front panel is going to go on the inside panel down at the bottom. And we are ready to assemble. We'll do some stamping in just a minute. So this DSP, I'm going to flat it here. First of all, I'm going to fold the flap at the 1.5 inch score, burnish it down. And you notice I'm going to have about 3/8, maybe a 1/4 inch border on the right and left, and it goes the full height of the card. So that's going to be flat adhered, and I'm using my liquid glue. You could use your Seal or your Seal Plus, whatever your favorite adhesive is, right? And I'm gonna butt it right to the edge of the top and slide it over. Here's what I like about the liquid glue. It lets me slide and adjust. And I'm gonna just burnish that down. And if you are a perfectionist, you might want to trim that around so you have a little bit spilling over. So now's a good time to fix that. I'm going to bring in my mini paper trimmer and just bring it down. I'm going to make that nice and even. Okay, so I've just fixed that. The next thing I'm going to do is bring in my second flap, the over flap, and this is going to be adhered with the score or the fold to the right. So it's going to be open on the left. We're going to secure it right in place. And again, this is going to be flat adhesive. So there we go. I'm just going to turn over. I'm going to add my adhesive. And I'm going to place it right inside an equal border top and bottom. And I'm going to have right here, I might want to shift it over. And I'm eyeballing this. It looks like it's going to be about 1 inch over on all sides. Let's see if I can measure that up for you. So it's about 3/4 inch on the right and left. 3/4. And again, this is your chance to tweak it, burnish it down. Easy, right? So there is the basic construction. So Corinne asks, what is the size of the inside card? So if you mean the inside card, the flap, Corinne, it's the exact same size as the card base. So typically when we make a card, let's see. When we typically make a card, we cut it in half. We can cut either vertically or horizontally. So in this particular case, I cut the paper horizontally, so I would have 2 pieces of 5.5 by 8.5. So this makes 1 card, right? This is just cut right in half. So I've got the 5 1/4 here, or sorry, 4 1/4 here, and then the 4 1/4 here, right? I still need both pieces. They're both the same size. One is for the card base. The second is for the overlapping flap. It's the same size. So this is going to measure 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And what we've done is scored it right in half. Half of 5 1/2 would be 2 3/4. So that's where it's scored and burnished. And hopefully that makes sense to you. All right, so now I am ready to stamp. I'm going to move that aside. I'm going to bring in my cute little stamps from the Easter Bunny stamp set. I am stamping, this is really simple. I am stamping in Tuxedo Black on my basic white. I'm going to stamp that cute little bunny that is standing up. You're welcome, Corinne. You will want to try this fold. I'm having a lot of fun with it. This fun fold, this simple fun fold was my team swap. And I love how quickly the cards came together. They're nice and clean and simple. And sometimes simple isn't easy to do. As a crafter, we want to keep adding, right? All right, so I'm going to stamp my bunny down slightly to the right. He is stamped in Tuxedo Black, really easy. And I'm also going to stamp, let's see, that cute little spray of flowers is going to go at the top of the card. Still, whoops. Oh, I got my fingers inked up. Hang on, let me wipe those down. I'm going to put it right up to the top. Just a little spray of flowers coming from the top. There's that. And we're going to continue with stamping. Let's see, I need eggs. Looking for my Happy Easter stamp. I thought I had mounted all my stamps, but not the Happy Easter one. Okay, so I need the long block. And here we go. There's that. Happy Easter, still in black. And here's what happens with my little pieces. I have a tiny piece. It's 1/2 inch wide by about 2.5 inches. Petal pink. It's going to be my greeting, which is Happy Easter. Still in Tuxedo Black. And did you notice I'm stamping on my piercing mat? This is a photopolymer stamp set. By the way, did you notice that some of the stamp sets are offered in either photopolymer or cling? So be sure that you check that out in the catalog because you have a choice on some of them, which is kind of cool on whether you prefer the clear photopolymer or the red rubber stamps. I think red rubber stamps clear a little more clearly. It's easier to work with for some projects. All right, now we are going to add some color to our bunny and to our flowers. Not a lot, just a little. And to color, whoops, I am bringing in crumb cake for the bunny, shaded spruce for the flowers, or the leaves on the flowers, pale papaya for the flowers, and balmy blue for the flowers. So there's my color choice. This is colored very subtly. I'm going to take that light pale papaya, and let's see if I can bring these in. Here's how I'm coloring the bunny. I'm just going to bring in and add a little color to his ear and the tiniest little bit on his nose. That's it for the bunny. Easy. And just so he's not just standing, we're going to add a little bit of grass. Just some little grass strokes coming in here. There we go. And I'm going to color the spray of flowers. So the leaves are shaded spruce, and I'm using the light shaded spruce. And there's a couple of branches here. Great. Then for the flowers, I'm going to be using the pale papaya. This time I'm going to pick the dark. And I'm going to go with the pen tip for these little flowers. They're very tiny. And then that bigger blossom. And then I'm going to bring in my balmy blue pen tip and do the little flowers here. There we go. All right, I'm done. Oh, done coloring. And you know what? I didn't even use the crumb cake on this bunny. The crumb cake's going to be used on the upcoming bunny. So this one is going to be attached to the front of the flap, flat adhesive. And not a lot. And it's going to have a small border, maybe like 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So the inside panel is going to have a little bit of the contrasting paper, so I just flipped it over. This was part of the trimming from the large DSP, and I'm just going to put a little line of flat glue, and I'm leaving the tiniest little border at the bottom. I didn't even trim it down. I just laid it down. I'm going to flip it over and trim it down, but yikes, I have the wrong scissors. I almost used my ribbon scissors. There we go. So there's my inside flap. So this goes flatted here on the inside. Again, this is the overlapping fun fold, overlapping handmade greeting card or overlapping fun fold. And again, I'm going to have about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around on the inside panel. So it's a little bit different this time. Typically we adhere to the right. On this instance, we're adhering to the left. This is where you could stamp an additional greeting or write your personal message. So it's going to go here. My Happy Easter is going to be attached with a dimensional, and I'm going to put a couple of the standard size dimensionals. Here we go. And it's going to come right in here. So pretty cute, right? It's coming together. I'm going to add a little tiny bow on the bunny. This is the Open Weave Pale Papaya ribbon. Really easy to work with. It comes in all the in colors. And let's see, I need my glue dots. Glue dots are what I like to use to attach my bows and ribbon. And I'm going to go direct to the glue dot so I don't have to touch it. Put it right on the bunny here. We're going to need to trim down our little ribbon tails right here. And one last thing, we're going to add some cute little embellishments. These are the brushed brass butterflies. And I have my take your pick to help me out. I'm going to get one of the bigger ones. The brushed brass butterflies come in 2 sizes. So I'm going to put a larger one down here, and then I'm going to grab a smaller one and put it up near the flowers. And there you go. There's card number 1 in our class, the Happy Easter Overlapping Fun Fold class. So this is the simple specialty card. You can have the step-by-step instructions. So easy, right? With the PDF tutorial that is included in your gift, you'll see 12 different designs. Now I say pretty easy. The trouble comes when you're trying to do it on your own. So a couple of times with the instructions and you'll be a whiz at it. Thank you. Oh, you guys are too kind. Thanks, Sandy. Thanks for the likes. There's card number 1. Okay, so let's move on to card number 2. And for card number 2, I am still using the Regency Park Designer Series paper. This is my It's a New Day card, perfect for spring. Another simple card, so stamps, paper, ink. I did use a die cut in this instance. I used the Layering Circles die cut. So here we go. Here are the materials I need. So this one, the orientation, it's half a sheet of Balmy Blue, cut 4 1/4 by 11, scored at, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Fold that down and burnish it right on the score line. And I am using the Balmy Blue spotted pattern. On the flip side are the multicolored tiny flowers. And then I have, this measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, full card front size. The second pattern is the Balmy Blue and Petal Pink Floral. This one measures 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. On the flip side is a Mango Melody pattern that we're going to use on another card as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is adhere these 2 layers together. Now, I prefer to do that versus starting to layer from the bottom up, because if we need to adjust any of the sizes, it's easier to adjust before it's on the card base. So let's put that down flat. And again, you could use your seal or what other flat adhesive you like. And this is going to be centered, so we're going to have about 1/2 inch on both sides. And I usually like to start at the top, make it nice and even at the top. And I'll push this up so you can see right through here. Okay, so I am going to have to trim that down a little. It's not quite even, but I'm going to go ahead and mount it on here now. And again, flat adhesive. I'm just trying to make sure I go all the way to the corners so it's on securely. And right through here. So I start by adhering at the top, at the fold. That's the part I want to be even, because if I do need to tweak it and adjust the length, it's much easier to do it at the bottom side. And so I'm ready to do that now. I can see there's a little bit of a tiny bit of DSP hanging over. Again, I'm going to bring in my mini chopper. And let's see, slice that down. There we go. Okay, so there is my card base. The next thing I'm going to do, oh dear. I thought I had mounted all my stamps, but I haven't. I'm looking for my stamp set. Okay, so this is the Crouching Bunny. And let's see, I'm going to need a block. So let's do this. And I'm using the die cut circle from the Layering Circles. This one measures 2 5/8, and he's going to be falling off the paper. So let's see if I can get 2 things in position here. I need my piercing mat, and I need a piece of scrap to secure behind. And that's just so I don't stain my piercing mat. All right, so the bunny is going to be falling off of the circle. He's kind of like hopping in. and I'm inking up. Notice how I like to turn the stamp over too, as opposed to stamping onto the ink pad. All right, so now I'm gonna come in, gonna stamp him down, and he's at an angle. Now the angle's not critical because this is a circle, so we can rotate it however we need. I just don't want to stamp too much in there. I want to allow some space for the greeting. So there's that. I'm also going to stamp, since I've got this ink pad out, on another piece of white scrap. I'm going to stamp those posies again. So I can hear the moaning already. This is going to be fussy cut. It's kind of like having class, and I mentioned that there's a little bit of fussy cutting involved, and some people do and some people don't like to fussy cut, but I think it adds a little bit of charm when it's fussy cut. So the next thing I'm going to do is stamp my It's a New Day greeting. Doesn't matter if it's straight. Again, this is going to be trimmed out pretty close. There we go. And move that over. I think we are done with this stamping. Let's do our coloring. Again, we're going to be coloring with blends, and we're coloring the posies the same way we did the last set. So I'm bringing in my shaded spruce to do the leaves and the branch. Just a touch of color here. These are pretty easy to color. And again, I'm going to do balmy blue flowers. The posy I'm going to do in blue. And then I'm going to skip over a flower and do this little 5-petal flower in blue. All right, so that means the other flowers are in pale papaya. And you could use petal pink. The pale papaya I find has a little bit more color. And looks like I forgot to do one little leaf in shaded spruce. There we go. All right, so now we're going to color our bunny. This one still has light pale papaya ears. And the little nose. And a little under. There we go. And crumb cake. This is what I tried to do last time. Overall, he's in light crumb cake. So it doesn't matter if he's solid or if there's little splotchy areas. He has a coat of crumb cake, and the coat sometimes has a little bit of variation in it, so that's okay. And I'm coming in, I'm going to avoid putting a little color on his face. I'm going to come down just below the eye, right there. And again, so if you opt to place the order and get the free kit, you're going to get the fixings to make 2 of each of the projects. And it will include your papers, your ribbons, even tie bows, and even the embellishments. Okay, so there's my crumb cake. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of shadowing around here. Hello, Donna. Thank you for joining, and thank you for commenting. It's always nice to know who popped in. I know some people are shy. They'd rather just lurk in the background, and that's okay too, but it's nice to know when you pop in. Okay, and I'm just kind of coming around the shadowy bits and the outline bits with the dark crumb cake and a little bit on the head around the edges. We are going to come back in and blend it in. So not a lot of dark, just a little bit of light. And you could color your bunnies gray, like smoky slate, not color them at all like I did on the first card. So I'm just going to blend in these little dark crumb cake bits. Coming in here, blending around. All right, and I find keeping it simple instead of trying to do too much precise coloring helps. The simpler the better, right? Okay, so there is our bunny. And before he gets inked up or ruined, I'm going to go ahead and pop him on with dimensionals. And we can use the standard size here. All right, so let's bring it up. I want him kind of at an angle and probably about 3/4 of an inch down and centered. And let's keep going. We're going to do our fussy cutting, so buckle up. It's going to go fast. It's pretty simple. By the way, if you do have to fussy cut the bunnies, it is not a big deal. They are so simple to fussy cut. Not a lot of detail. Now the little spray is a little bit more complicated because there's more twists and turns. But again, I think it adds to the charm of the handmade, just like dimensionals do. Once you start popping things up and adding the dimension, a little bit of hand snipping, it just makes the project so much more charming. And I love the little soft spring colors in these cards. What's nice about the paper pack is that there are some bold colors as well. That Night of Navy and Shaded Spruce gives a lot more color. And then you also have the subtles, so it's a nice blend. The flowers are cute. Sometimes some of the patterns even look a little tropical. So you could use like a palm tree or beachy images. It's a very nice paper pack, lots of variety. All right, so and I'm just trying to turn the paper. All right, this is going to be placed around the bunny's neck. I'm going to add a dimensional right behind one of the wider parts and place that down a little bit low below his head. Thank you, Corinne. Then I'm going to come in tight on the greeting and just do a little bit of hand snipping here. And I like to cut around the descenders and ascenders. Bring it in nice and tight. A D comes up, so we kind of go around the D and then down and then all the way across, flat. Simple, right? Not too complicated. Now this one's going to have a dimensional. I think I can put a mini dimensional back here on the wider bit right there. And then I also like to cut a snip from the border. It's going to be like not even an 1/8 inch wide. And this is just going to help support the other end of the greeting. So right in here, it gets popped up. And let's see, we're going to bring it off there. And we're going to add our little bow. Again, the same Pale Papaya open weave ribbon. I need a glue dot. And it's going to come right down here below the little greeting. Snip off the tails. And then one last thing, we want our embellishments. So let me bring in my Take your pick. Right here, and I'm using, let's see if I do it the same as before. I'm going to use one big again and one smaller. So right over here, and then tiny one flying up to the little bunny's nose. And there we go. There's card number 2. It's a beautiful day, using the Easter Bunny stamp set only. Notice how I haven't even needed that punch yet. The butterfly's cute. I love the little brushed brass butterflies too. They are the sweetest embellishments. Thank you, Corinne. All right, so that's card number 2. Let's keep going for card number 3. I think you're gonna like it. Again, let's see, let me bring in my needed materials. Here's the card. It looks like spring. I have brought in that Thanks a Bunch stamp set. This one is cute on the front. It's got the boulder pattern with the Night and Navy background. I used the flip side of the same paper from the first card, so you'll recognize that flip side. It's a little Mango Melody pattern. We've got the Regency Park paper, again, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This one measures 3 inches by 4 1/4. My card base is going to be Mango Melody, and this is a vertical card, so I've got it measuring 4 1/2 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, and it's a cute card, right? But wait till you open it on the inside. It says, it looks like spring. Everything's coming up carrots. So very cute, this little pop-up. I'll show you how we do that. There's no cutting, it's all in the fold. It's a really cute element to add to the inside of your card. It looks like spring. Now reminder, if your order is $50, you're gonna get the Thanks a Bunch stamp set added to your gifts. Thank you, Debbie. All right, so let's get started. We're gonna start off with our card base. Again, it's 4 1/4 by 11. And I'm going to fold and burnish that down. I'm going to try not to lose anything. And again, it's scored right down the middle, 5 1/2. And let's go ahead and layer up our papers. So this one's 4 1/4, 5 1/2, and what was it? I just told you, 3 inches by 4 1/4. So let's adhere that. Now you could do your stamping first. I like to eliminate some of these loose supplies before I lose them, because I have been known to go crazy searching for things on my crafty table. It's going to be almost centered. I always like a little bit wider base than the top, so it goes right flat, adhered. All right, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my card front. And again, it's going to be flat. I would get, so let's see, I would get those butterflies soon, because once they go on the list, they might not be available. I wouldn't want to be caught without those cute little butterflies. And you know what I like about it, honestly, is that they're flat. So they don't add a lot of bulkiness to your project, but they really add a big pop of pizzazz to your project. So I'm going to go right abutted to the top. Now the nice thing about the butterflies is that you do get quite a few. I'm not sure how many are on here. 80, so that's fair. And again, the smaller size, the bigger size, they're fun on so many projects and they go with so many things. All right, so I've adhered that. Looks like I'm going to need to trim just a tiny bit. And I'm going to do that now, as long as I can find my paper trimmer. Wow, my little paper trimmer has feet. Here we go. I'm going to take care of finishing that off right now. And it's just the tiniest little hairline that I need to chop off. Perfect. All right, so there, I'm going to set this aside for now. We're going to do the insert. Now the insert, here's what you have to do. My insert is going to measure 3 3/4 across and 10 1/2 tall. So we'll take care of that. Let me see if I can move my blends out of the way. I do need to do some scoring on the white. That's what's going to create the pop-up. Trying to get rid of some of these things here. So on the paper trimmer, we are going to score. And first thing, we're going to score right down the middle on the long side. So half of 10 1/2 would be 5 1/4. So we're going to score here. That's right down the middle. We also want to score an inch before the fold, so that would be 4 1/4. And we want to score an inch after the fold, so that would be 6 1/4. So one more time, where we score at 4 1/4, 5 1/4, 6 1/4. Easy, right? That should be easy to remember. The next thing I'm going to do is fold the insert. And these are going to be folded as a mountain and then the valley. So mountain and valley, just like so. And we're going to want to burnish that down. Now, before I secure this to the inside, I like to stamp before I adhere. And the reasoning for that is just in case I muff it, I still have a chance to turn it over and try a second time. So the inside greeting is stamped with shaded spruce. And I'm going to stamp it with the little sentiment that says, everything is coming up carrots. Isn't that sweet? So let's see, I'm going to put that down here. Let's see, I'm going to flip that over. Ink up. In shaded spruce, and it's going to go towards the fold, so we have some space to sign and write a message. All right, so I'm happy with that. The next thing I'm going to do is let's try adhering it to the inside of our card, just making sure that this is all ready to go. And what's going to happen, it's a little bit askew. Let me fix that. So I'm just going to force it straight. And what I'm doing is just double checking that everything lines up. The corners to corners here all align, and if it's not, this is your chance to fix that score line. So match up the corners and then force it down at the folds, and I still felt it move over a little bit. Yeah, something isn't happy. All right, let's give it a try. So now we're going to get our card base right here. We are going to put adhesive only on the smaller rectangles. We're not going to put any in the middle, if that makes sense. So this is going to go, the blank goes at the top. And so I'm going to put flat adhesive here. And just make sure you've got your orientation right. Now, what's important here is that we're going to put the fold to fold. So the middle fold of the insert has to be right at the middle fold of the card base, if that makes sense. So what I'm doing is, let's see if I can pull up just a little. So what I'm doing is aligning the fold on the insert to the fold on the card base. I'm going to push that down, adhere. All right. And now I just need to put adhesive on the bottom portion. So I'm going to fold that up, flip it over, and put adhesive only on this smaller rectangle. And so I could probably just close that up, put that down, and so when we open the card, see how we have that step there? That's where we're going to put our pop-up. So that goes there. All right, so our card base is done. Let's do our stamping. And let's see, we're going to be stamping on a piece of basic white. This measurement is important. It's 2 3/4 by 4. And I say this one's important because it's going to be attached here. We want about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And then the other pieces, I need 2 scraps, one to do a bunny, one to do the label. And then I need the piece for the inside carrots. It's going to measure 2 inches high, and I've actually cut it a little bit bigger. I'm going to trim it down to 3 3/4 once I get it stamped up. So let's do our stamping. We are still, this time we're stamping in colors, so let me bring in my colors. I've got Granny Apple Green, Shaded Spruce, and one more color, and that would be Mango Melody. Okay, so we've got 3 colors here, and I'm going to bring in my piercing mat and my scrap paper so that I don't soil my piercing mat. And I'm going to start with my carrots. All right, so I'm going to start with the solid carrot, and I'm stamping in Mango Melody. And I'm going sort of at a diagonal, about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. So there's one, and I'm going to do a second, just at a smaller angle, right through there. And then this set has a 2-step to it, so I've got a detail stamp as well. I'm going to clean off my stamp before I put it away. All right, so my detail is going to be stamped same color. It's just going to add in some of the texture on the carrot. And so just stamping down. And again. All right, so there's my carrot. Now I'm going to add a little bit of the greenery to it. Again, let me clean this off before I remove it from the block. So I'm going to start off with the greenery. I've got one little leaf that I'm going to do in Granny Apple Green. This is the wider leaf, and I'm just going to, actually I'm going to get a little Post-it note and cover this up right through here. Granny Apple Green again. So then I'm going to bring in some detail with the Shaded Spruce. There's another stamp for greenery in Shaded Spruce. This is the finer leaves. And again, I'm going to bring this in and do a couple of inkings. then also here. All right, so there's our outside carrots. We need to do a little bit of stamping of other things. We're going to stamp the bunny in tuxedo black, and this bunny is going to be fussy cut. So a little bit of fussy cutting on this project. We're going to be stamping. And we also need some of the smaller carrots that the bunny is going to be holding. So I'm going to stamp Mango Melody. He's going to be holding those carrots there. And let's go ahead and stamp our greeting. This one says, "It looks like spring," and I'm stamping in shaded spruce. I'm going to stamp down on a piece of white scrap. This is going to be punched there. And then, let's see. Put that aside. I've got my bunny there. And I want to do the inside pop-up. And to do that, I'm going to use the smaller carrot in the Thanks a Bunch stamp set. And we are going to be stamping in Mango Melody. We're going to stamp all the way across. So just some carrots sticking up from the ground at all different heights, just a bunch of carrots here. Oh, you know what? No, I think it's going to be okay. I have a little smidge of Mango Melody. I need to be more careful inking up because I'm getting some residual ink on the block, which I want to avoid. So mostly they're just coming up partially from the ground. All right, so there are my carrots, and next I'm going to add some leaves to it, and I'm using the fine leaf. I need to clean that up. On the inside I'm using Granny Apple Green. Let me put this aside and use the green. And again, I'm going to be covering so that I'm not getting, just masking. That's what I'm trying to say. Just doing a little bit of masking with my Post-it note. And remember, right now our paper is a little bit wider than it needs to be. We can trim it down before we put it into our insert. So what we're doing is just creating a garden of carrots. This would also be a cute image for the Thanks a Bunch sentiment. All right, there we go. There's our carrots. I think I'm going to fill it in just a little bit more. Come back in and do some multiples. One more right here. Okay, I think I'm good. Now, before I attach it, I'm going to add a little bit of dirt using the, let's see, the dark soft suede. I'm going to come in and add some dirt to the base of my image right here. You can hear the little darlings in the background. At least they're not running on this side of the gate yet. Okay, so I'm just adding some dirt to the garden. And let's see, I'm going to trim this down. I want it to be, let's see, I'm going to trim from this side. I want it to be 3 3/4 wide. So there's 3, 3 1/2, 3 3/4. If you remember, that's the width of my insert. There. And I'm going to go ahead and add that to the inside of the card by applying adhesive right here on this step or on the lower half of my stamped image. So just put a little bit of dot here, not a lot. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of adhesive at the top of the step. So I flipped this up. Whoops, I just dipped that in the glue. I want a little bit of adhesive up here at the top of the step as well. Just like so. So let me make sure I don't have any adhesive there. Okay. And this just goes flat to the fold here. We created the pop-up without having to cut. All we did was score. We created a little step there. Everything is coming up carrots there. All right, so it's coming along. There's the inside of our card. We need to do a little bit of work on the outside. We need to color our bunny. And on this bunny, I colored him crumb cake. So I'm gonna get my crumb cakes. I need my pale papaya. And I think that that's it. Let's go ahead and start with a little ear right in here and his nose. The light crumb cake overall. Actually, this time I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to start with my dark crumb cake and I'm going to come in around the edges and add a little bit more where the shadowy bits would be. Oh, I just noticed there's a little piece that I need to put pale papaya on, so I'll add that in just a second. And then around the head. All right, then I want to put some pale papaya on his little pads at the bottom of his feet. I'm going to come in with the light crumb cake now, and this time I'll use the brush tip and blend in. And I'm going to keep away from the tummy, mostly. Blending in. And it's going to create his little face in here. And the tummy's not critical because we're going to be placing some carrots in his hands anyway, so it's going to be covered. I just need to do around the ears. All right, so let's see. Bring it down just a little bit. Now I'm also going to stamp the tiny, let's see if I can find him. Starting to lose my stamps here. Okay, in the stamp set is the small leaf stem for the smallest carrots. We're going to stamp this in shaded spruce right onto the bunny. So right here. There. And we need to do a little bit of punching and hand snipping. And again, let's see if I can find my snips. And we're going to cut the little bunny. And again, this one's easy to do. It's not very detailed. And I'm just going to do a time check. Oh my gosh, it's 5:20. I thought I was going to try to do 45 minutes. That just happens when you're having fun, right? It's been a little bit longer. A little. Oh well. The nice thing is, if you have to leave early, you can skip over to the YouTube and pick up wherever you left off. Or if you came in late, that'll work as well. And I have to confess, one of the things I love about YouTube is that you can adjust the speed of the video. So you can do 1 1/4 faster, 1 1/2, 1 3/4. You can even do double speed and zip through the video. So, and then just stop when you need to hear the details. So, not gonna lie, I do it all the time. I mean, who has time to watch all those videos, right? At regular speed. All right, here we go. Almost done with the bunny. And I hope you stay till the bitter end. I have a bonus card to share with you. I'm not going to be crafting it. I'm just going to share it with you. There we go. And I'm going to do the carrots. Carrots are really simple to cut right through here. And coming right through here. And again, the DSP, the Regency Park, it's a nice variety with all the wide span of colors and moods. Almost done here. One more little carrot. Okay. Now this gets popped up with a little dimensional in his hands. Let's see if I can bring that in here. And it's going to go right in his hands right here. Then we need our carrots. These are going to be mounted onto our mat. Flat adhesive. Right through here. So I'm going to have about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Right, my greeting is going to be punched, and I am using the Label Me Fancy punch. And I'm going to pull it towards the left, so I have it's a little bit uneven. There. We're going to be popping that up with a dimensional, standard size. And it's going to go right around there. Bunny gets popped up with dimensionals as well. And it kind of overlaps the label a little bit, right in there. And this time I am using the bow. I'm pre-made the bow. This is the, let's see, the Night of Navy. And it's called, let's see, the Bordered Ribbon. So nice texture, really easy to work with. And I need a glue dot. It goes right on the other side of the bunny. And I can trim the ends a little bit shorter. And I'm still going to add my embellishments if I can find them. Right over here. And let me get the ink pads out of the way. I am not spotting my, take your pick. I'm going to try pulling this off just with my fingers. This goes right up here onto my little label. There is the third card. It looks like spring. So we have our, it looks like spring. It's a new day. Happy Easter. And I promised you a bonus project that I'm sharing with you using the Warm Welcome bundle. So this is a super cute set. I'm making a baby card with this. So I'm using the door element, the little shoes, the welcome, and here's what I've done. Same paper. Thank you, Corinne. Same paper for a baby card. Welcome, little one. You're going to see I've used the flip side, this petal pink cane like background, and a little night and navy carpet, some striped wallpaper. The little shoes were inked and colored with blends, and there's that cute little bunny. Bunnies just remind me of the baby cards. So the little Happy Easter set, really usable for more than Easter. So your springtime cards, your baby cards, your Easter cards, there you go. So there is today's class. Oh, thank you, Debbie, so sweet. All right, for those of you who would like to shop, the offer is to receive the free class kit. So you'll get the materials to make 2 of each of the class cards. You'll get your papers, your ribbons, your embellishments, everything you need except for the stamped images. You might want to include that in your order. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Margaret. Likes the baby card. I think it's a nice, simple baby card. Thank you. So the Easter Bunny set, I think it's like $23, very reasonably priced, and it will go far. So there you go. And don't forget, if you get your order in by Monday night, and it's $50, you will also get the Thanks a Bunch stamp set as an additional gift. You're going to get the 2 PDF tutorials. The card kits I am shooting to get sent out by next Wednesday. So that's because on Thursday we will have our new class, and oh my goodness, next week is Lovely and Lasting. It's a very sweet stamp set from the annual catalog. I'm going to be working out of the annual catalog next week, and the reason I picked it, it's a cute stamp set and punch bundle, but it is on low inventory, or at least this suite is on low inventory. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that and play with it before it goes away. All right, my friends, if you have any questions, even after the fact, feel free to post the comment below. I thank you so much for joining me. All right, have a great evening.